This is the Your Sports Resource Podcast, where each week you'll learn actionable strategies that you can implement so the operations of your club support your coaching staff and the direction of your organization. We are committed to excellence in youth sports leadership. Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Sports Resource Podcast. Today, I'm going to kick off a series where I talk about different values. Those of you who listen to me or know my work know that a big part of the client work that I do is setting the tone for the direction of the organization. And through that, we support it with how we conduct ourselves in creating our culture. So this work is when we do our vision for the next 3 to 5 years, and then underpinning the vision are the values and the behaviors. And what I thought might be interesting is if we went through some of the values that have been chosen the most out of the clubs and universities that I've worked with. Now, today's discussion is around the value passion. And I chose to discuss this one first on purpose. Now, the very first club I did this exercise with chose passion, and then subsequently several other clubs chose this one. And I could not wrap my head around how passion was one of the top 5 values for these clubs. Yes, people involved in sport have to have passion, but as a value, something you want to live up to, now it makes sense. And I hope it will make sense to you when I'm done. But quite honestly, I thought these people were nuts when they narrowed down their 5 values that the organization will live up to in order to reach their vision and to be proactive with their culture, that they came up with passion. So let's get into it. Now, how I present the values and behaviors is that the values are fundamental beliefs that drive decisions and what the organization aspires to live up to in order to reach their vision, right? Then I ask the clubs to come up with their behavior statements that help them make that value real. I'm trying to get people to move from just putting their words on paper and making them a reality. And the way you make it a reality really is thinking about the behaviors that the coaches, the parents, the swimmers or athletes, and the volunteers will take or do in order to live up to that value. So swimming is one of the few sports that is a full year, long-term sport. Okay. It has seasons. And yes, you register every year, but swimming is a commitment, okay? And there's usually only 2, maybe 3 weeks off in a year. So a kid has to have passion for swimming to make it a commitment, right? Parents have to have a passion to get up at 4 a.m. to support their kids getting to morning practice. So if you don't love the sport, it's a problem because you can't just say, oh, it's only a couple more weeks and then the season is over. Well, yeah, this particular season might be over, but then you're into the next one and then you're into the next one. So it just kind of like follows on after each other. So, but again, if I were to go back to the word passion, how did that word make the top 5 values for these clubs? Here's how. In order to reach higher goals, you have to show up understanding why you're there and not just because, mom dropped you off, right? As a volunteer, you have to show up ready to get things done, whether it's working a meet or doing, something big like fundraising, or it will be a tiresome slog and you won't reach your desired outcome. So when you face things as an obligation or just being here because it's where I landed, then it makes all the works that you're doing from any level difficult and not enjoyable. So let me give you some examples of behavior statements that go with the value passion. And remember, this is for everyone, right? Coaches, parents, athletes, volunteers, any other staff, anybody involved with the organization. So these are the statements that clubs, or some of the statements that clubs have put together, behavior statements to support the value passion. Okay. Bring and share positive energy. Know your why. Enjoy the moment. Find your motivation. Enjoy life. Pursue your goals by finding your joy. Be present. Be positive. Have fun. All in. Celebrate all successes. Now, all of these behavior statements are focused on loving what you do. Connecting the why you do it deepens that emotion and understanding of, why you showed up on deck other than just to be claiming a paycheck in the example of a swim coach, right? That why might be because they really enjoy who they work with, or that they love working in service of young athletes and their families. Having that passion gives you a reason to keep going, keep learning, keep progressing to be your best self. Again, this applies to every role. Best times as a swimmer, best results for the team, or producing wonderful young adults as coaches, right? Ensuring meets run like clockwork so kids can focus on themselves as a volunteer. Wonderful communications and onboarding as an admin staff, and club operational continuity and long-term success, maybe as a board member. Passion as a value fills all of those scenarios. Now, to play devil's advocate, passion is usually a sense of energy or desire, which if you have lived longer than 10 years, you know that sometimes passions come and go. We tend to hit on something that creates a fire within us, and then we will, eventually kind of move on to other things as we become older or more experienced. But again, not to say this is true for every swimmer, but once you get out of those lower age groups, it's a lot. Again, it's a big commitment. It's a serious position. And if you don't have that passion or fire within to continue, then I just don't see how you'll grow. And I don't see how you'll get through challenges. We all face personal challenges, but organizations, just because they're businesses, also face challenges, right? I mean, COVID changed some clubs forever. And that will be the last challenge clubs face. But if you don't have passion, it will truly be difficult to get over that hurdle, whatever that hurdle may be. Now, I don't believe that passion is the only factor to getting over hurdles or even just reaching goals, because if you just wander around aimlessly or don't have a plan of action, all the passion in the world won't necessarily get you to where you want to go. But it's definitely a factor that will cause you to create a plan, right? Okay, so to wrap this up, it's fair to say that I now understand why passion keeps coming up with my clients when creating their values. Yes, I've admitted the errors of my ways, right? Because I did fight them quite a bit. I just didn't understand it. So I get it now, and I hope you do too. Tell me what you think about passion as a value. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. It helps to elevate the Your Sports Resource podcast in the ratings so more can see the work that we do here. You have an amazing day. Thanks for spending time.